Hey guys, how you doing today? Just getting off work here on my way home. It's pretty close to home, so I'm gonna be stopping. Uh, I'm trying to carve out that time to record these videos because it was really uplifting. There was so first, let's stop and admire my hair. Boy, do I need a haircut. Eh? Hair is just doing what it wants. Oh yeah, I need to carve out that time and get a haircut. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting too much. So many positive and lovely messages. I was like on a hiatus for 6 days, and someone, Last Rose, gave me a little buzz, and so many people have buzzed me back and said how much they like my videos and how much they missed that time I was away. And that's, boy, is that ever sweet. Boy, is that ever uplifting. That really encourages me. And so I think my new strategy here is just going to be, when I get off work, I'm going to start recording, and I'll just pause outside my domicile and just kind of keep going. And because I think even if these videos can elicit that response from a couple of people, it's so worth it for me to do it. And it really got me thinking, like, why am I doing these videos? Like, what's sort of the beating heart of what these videos mean to me? Like, why is it important that I do these videos for myself and for others? And I think it really does come down to, we need people who are telling alternative narratives here in North America, as our narrative system, our media system, actively fails us. And what I mean by actively fails us is they understand that they're failing. Like, they understand that. They know that they're abandoning people. They know that they're fleecing people. They know that. I think you'd have to be absolutely dunderheaded, bury your head in the sand completely thick to think that this capitalist system is generating anything but hardship for people, for the vast majority of people. It can't respond to even the most basic concerns in a way that's rational. And so we need people who are willing to stand up and willing to tell an alternative story, right? Because the media is completely captured by the billionaire class. Even media organizations that are state-sponsored, like CBC, are still beholden to the political class, which is completely beholden to the billionaire class. So, really, all the stories we hear are just stories that are spun at us and spit at us for the benefit of the billionaire class. Like, they're not interested in telling a story that doesn't... they're not interested in telling a story that will put them in a bad light. They're not interested in investigating the structure of capitalism, because if they investigated the structure of capitalism, they would realize that they are cast as the villains in that story, and that their wealth and their prestige, they didn't work for that. It was just handed to them. They exist in a system that just rewards them for existing in the first place, because they are the sons of the ownership class. Like, if you're David Thompson, you were literally born a billionaire and a baron, right? You're absolutely in this monarchical class. And we need people to tell stories, or to comment on this society in a way that is honest and genuine and speaks up against a system that rewards this kind of inability to formulate logical structures, right? I got lost in that particular thought. We need people to tell stories that are based in honesty, that are based in what is actually happening, right? Like, one of the things that we're really going through today as a society is we're dealing with the idea of systemic racism, right? That is there systemic racism in the society? And obviously there is. But, and the fact that we even have to have that conversation, right? Is there systemic racism in the society? We have to ask that question in the first place is stunningly odd. And the only reason we have to ask this question is because we've been trained to ignore the systemic racism that exists in our society. And we've been trained to ignore it by a billionaire class that benefits from that systemic racism. Right? And really, I mean, this billionaire class, this class of, let's be straight with it, this class of white supremacists are going to be the death of us. We're going to be in a situation where, like, the climate change crisis that we're facing up against is real. It's not this made up thing. And the billionaire response to it is obviously, how can we squeeze as much wealth from this system? Like, we will say, let's transfer the structure of the system over to a clean energy. But it's obvious, and it's obvious to anybody who's actually seen that Planet of the Humans by Michael Moore. Like, it's obvious that all they're doing is playing a con game where they're going to grift you and say, oh, look at this green energy solution, look at this, while they build like solar plants that are actually natural gas plants. Like, it's a complete and total grift. It's a con job, because that's all capitalism is capable of doing, is conning people. And we can't actually, like, you can hear behind me, there are cars and stuff going around. Like, as we move forward in this climate crisis, like, the thing that's going to be obvious is, like, we can't continue this way. We can't continue the way that we've been continuing. I remember growing up, people would say, like, oh, think of all the technological changes that have happened through your grandparents' time. Think of all in their lifetime, they went through, like, cars and the invention of this. And I feel like people are going to say the same thing about my generation, except it will be in a regressive kind of a way, or in a regression, right? That my generation is going to witness a stripping down. That there were all these technological wonders and all, oh wow, look at all this kind of stuff that was completely based on the back of this fossil fuel dynamic that has to end. Like, literally has to end. Like, it can't not continue this way. And there are going to be these widespread repercussions and things that we just refuse to really think about. And it really is that. It's that we refuse to think about it. It's that we're sitting here actively deluding ourselves. Like, the idea that we're going to technologicalize our way out of this problem is delusion. Like, it's delusional. We need to fundamentally restructure the way we operate as citizens, right? So during this COVID-19 crisis, like, one of the things I was worried about here up in Canada, we started to pass laws saying you have to wear masks inside. And I was concerned that people were going to be very against it. But it seems almost universally that people are for the masks, and people are in favor of the masks and are complying perfectly with the legislation, because they understand that it's serious and they understand that something needs to be done. And the hope is that we'll do it and there won't be further lockdowns. Because I think people felt the pain of being in a lockdown and don't want to go back to that. And they think that the masks may prevent a second lockdown, may prevent another thing. And they might. We'll see. We'll see. But we need to start doing similar things to face the crisis of climate change that we are facing up against. Like, this whole, like, individual car thing, like, sorry, like, that's gonna go. Like, it's not that, like, I'm not even saying we should start making it happen. Like, that's going to be one of the first things that dies. Not because of just because it has to. Just because it has to, right? Like, individual car ownership, are you kidding me? Like, that's mad. That's madness. These, the way that we factory farm, right? It's just going to have to stop. It is just going to have to stop. And it will stop. Like, it will. And it's whether we choose to face it intelligently and like adults, and, or whether it's just something that's thrust upon us, well, that's what we get to choose. That's how we get to deal with it. And that's one thing I think about for my own life is, like, be honest. Like, you literally saw, like, that's how far I walk to work. I live that close to my job now. And I've made the choices, and I've made some sacrifices and to get myself into that position. Because I understand that, like, in my lifetime, and sooner than we may think, like, people aren't going to be able to drive to work. Like, that's a joke. That's a joke. And maybe we'll have some kind of mass transit solution, but I mean, the COVID-19 thing has really taught us, like, do you really want to get on mass transit? Are you really that keen to do that? And so something I think about all the time, right? Like, every summer is getting hotter, right? This summer is already the hottest summer on record, and every summer it's getting hotter. And eventually we're going to run out of the juice we need to run the air conditioners that we rely on. And we're going to become more reliant on air conditioners and more reliant on that. And we're not going to be able to do it because we're going to run out of the fuel, or the repercussions of burning the CO2 is going to completely throw us into a chaotic state. Like, it's the chaos that's going to come that I think we need to be aware of and honest about and prepared for. And I don't mean, like, be a prepper, like, get, like, well, maybe we should have rations, and maybe we should have clean water, maybe we should arm ourselves, right? Maybe we should do these things, because it seems as though all the capitalist class is willing to do, including our political class, is pretend as though they care about the issue, right? That's really all it is, and that's all capitalism is capable of doing. They're only pretending to care. Like, that's liberalism 101 as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's why ultimately I think conservatives are more moral than liberals, because at least conservatives don't pretend like they care. At least they're honest about their lack of empathy and compassion for other people. Like, they will openly say that people should just go die in the street. Like, homelessness is fine, right? But a liberal will pretend like he cares. He'll actually pretend, and he'll actually use the arguments and say the right things in order to attain power. But he doesn't care. A liberal doesn't care, right? He'll step over a homeless person just like a conservative. He won't actually do the right thing to make the society better, because he's beholden to a class of people who are incapable of empathy and compassion, right? They are sociopaths. And that this is how our society has become clearly structured. And I think I need to keep doing these videos, and I need to keep speaking in this way so that more and more people can gather, and more people can understand that, the feelings that they have, that we're ruled by a class of sociopaths who don't care about us at all, that they're not alone in that, right? That they're not crazy for thinking that the ruling class has lost its mind. Because what's going to happen as this climate change thing continues is that the wealthy are just going to retreat into their palaces and gated communities, while we walk up and down the streets protesting, and they're just going to drink their wine and not give a shit. They're going to hide behind the police force, which exists exclusively to protect capital. They're going to hide behind the military, which exists to expand and protect the Empire. And that's what's going to happen. Oh, I think I hear my little dog. Come on up. Hey guys, you want to see something cute? You want to see something really cute? Check this out. Who's that? Who's that? It's my little dog. Oh, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Oh, it's Milo. Oh, it's Milo. Who's a good little doggy? Yeah, he's a good little doggy. And with that little fun note, you guys have fun out there, okay? Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.